In this video, guys, we shall be taking a look at the 2015 Inside Out movie made by Disney Pixar. So without further ado, let's get into today's review. So I thought then that this animated Disney Pixar movie was good, but quite weak in comparison to the likes of Incredibles, Monsters Inc., you name it, Cars, Ratatouille. It goes nowhere near those, and I think it didn't fail, it just weren't stand out. It didn't stand out. It weren't one of those movies that I'd go back and watch 50 times. It was one of those, once I watched it, I was sort of like, I don't need to watch it again, because you get what you need out of that film. It's good how it explores certain different things that we haven't yet seen in a Disney movie till this point, in which was covering emotions, the feelings of why you feel certain emotions, and this goes through the likes of feeling hopeful and happiness, feeling sadness, feeling anger, feeling fear, feeling disgust. All these feelings that we feel in a day-to-day, it gets explored why we might feel that, and they put it down to people working in our brains, pressing buttons, in which was very creative if you're a young person thinking that's how to think about it. But in a way, that's not what happens, is it? Let's be honest. It was created by Disney, how they packaged that, because it made a lot of sense in hindsight, because certain things you forget and it falls down to this tunnel thing and never seen again, and certain core memories you remember and stuff like that. That element of things was understandable, and in a way you can roll with that. However, if we're being realistic, there's not little people working in our brains. So I liked how they got a bit creative, because Disney Pixar is not meant to be real life, because cars do not talk and our toys do not talk neither. So it was another creative aspect by Disney, in which I really liked. I think it explored something that we haven't seen, so why not? And I think it didn't pay off how it was meant to, because I feel that, like I said, it weren't very memorable. I think the plot element of it didn't hold up as such, because the whole movie focused around joy and sadness, really getting back up to headquarters after having a falling out over these core memories turning sad rather than staying happy memories. They turn like sad memories, and they both fell down the chute and end up storage area. And I think them just finding the way back up to HQ, while everything else, all these little world things of your family, your goofball side, your personalities, your traits disappearing, because this character Riley can't feel happy and can't feel sad, and can only feel the emotions that are still in her brain, which are fear, anger, disgust, and that way isn't really good, because she's never going to be happy and stuff. So them finding the way back up to the top, basically to save her from going off the rails, was a bit weird. But at the same time, it's not something that I can particularly say you can get a good story out of, because I feel that, yeah, while also they covered some important stuff, like Riley potentially running away, which you can see kids doing when they're not happy and they're upset about things and it's not going the way that they want. And especially like with this move from a different place, a completely different place, and then her moving in, having to find new friends and things like that, it's going to be a tough time for anybody. So it covers some important stuff. However, I do feel though that for a Disney movie, I expected better. I expected a better plot. I expected a hugely broader and more detailed plot line of just finding your way back up to the top of the headquarters, in which it weren't bad, but it just felt stretched. It felt like a little idea which shouldn't have taken that long, necessarily speaking, to get back up to the top a fucking long time, and it weren't really interesting. Moving on, I just want to talk about one thing before we get to the actors and actresses, which is that this movie didn't have a serious villain. And if your movie doesn't have a serious villain, especially if you're a Disney movie, it's not going to be entertaining. It's not going to be as good as you would have liked it to be. Because if we're just looking at some of the most iconic Disney villains, Lotso, mint villain. We're just talking Pixar here. Then we saw Syndrome in there as well. some iconic, and then the little chef from Ratatouille. Those characters, those villains make the good guys even better, make you want to cheer for the good guys because the bad guys are so terrible that you're rooting for the good guys. In this one, since there was no villain, you're sort of doomed to fail from the beginning. It weren't a failure, I'm not going that harsh, but it was doomed from the start of not being up there with the likes of Incredibles, Monsters Inc., you name it, because it didn't have an iconic villain to make the good guys even better. And I think in Disney, especially if you're a Disney movie, you're living in the footsteps of big fucking villains, man. And if you haven't got one of those big villains, I think you're really letting the movie down. You're letting the fans down, because we want to see good guy versus bad guy. No, it's been done 100 times, but that's why we love it. Finally then, I thought that the actors and actresses did a good job, although not amazing, no big names really. They did a job in this movie, as we saw the likes of Amy Poehler, Bill Hader, Lewis Black, Mindy Kaling, Phyllis Smith, Richard Kind, Kaitlyn Dias and Jon Ratzenberger, just to name a few, that made this movie what it is. And I don't think it was their fault why the movie didn't go as well as it should have and wasn't as iconic as it should have. That's down to the writers. So to summarise this average movie then, like I just said, this movie's bang average. It's 6.8 out of 10. So let me know down in the comments down below what your thoughts are. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it amazing? Is it really, really shit? Let me know down in the comments down below, please. Also, we have noticed not enough people have been smashing that subscribe button, so please don't forget to do that. Hit that like button, hit that notification bell. I shall see you guys in the next one. Later.